Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of how a stage hypnosis show will go. The dynamic in this room today is obviously very different than it would be in a pub, club, nightclub or theatre. Now that's important to remember, because in a pub, club, theatre, nightclub or entertainment establishment where something's been advertised to the public, the whole psychological dynamic of the thing, the reason they've gone there, the fact they've seen your advertising, your posters up and what have you, the whole reason they're there in the first place is 90% of them being hypnotised. And I'll explain that in more depth when we refer to the flip chart in a minute. So here today, we're all thinking, right, okay, so what happens if we don't get many volunteers? Well, that will happen if you end up doing shows. I know some of you here, let's have a show of hands. There's some people here who've actually done stage shows who want, or people who intend to do stage shows. So could I have a show of hands there? There's a fair few. I know there's some people here that want to use like rapid induction techniques in the group therapy demos and stuff in public. We have a show of hands there. Okay, that's over half as well. And then obviously tomorrow we're covering marketing and that on both sides, stage and therapy, and I think that'll probably cover everybody who wants to make more money from the business. Everybody, right, brilliant. Okay, just before we get into things, we're going to go through now till 12 o'clock, then we're going to have a coffee break. Coffee will be served at the back of the room. We'll then have another session, this is the same tomorrow as well, for an hour. The lunch will be served at 1:30. Buffet will be in here. There's a bar upstairs as well where if anyone wants a tipple at lunchtime, you'll definitely find me there. There's toilets out the door through here, there's also toilets upstairs. Your nearest fire exit, which technically speaking I should have told you right at the start, is through this door and to the left. If for some reason that's where it's on fire, then there's a door to the right. They're your nearest exit points, okay? So, before I actually get down to telling you how the hell to do all that, what I want is the people who actually took part. Dave, yeah? I take it you came out of trance there? Yeah. Finally, yeah? Yeah. Okay. Where's the gentleman who was our star there? The major star, you were? There, so, right, okay. What I want you to do is tell everybody here what you felt like. The reason that you believe you just did what you did. Because in a minute I'm going to explain why you did what you did. And I think you'll find that my explanation is completely different than what you believe, or what anyone in this room believes. So, just, you know, stand up, tell everybody why you think you just did what you did.
I wish you hadn't just give me that now. I've got a sweet in my mouth, hang on. To me, it just felt the natural thing to do.
In what sort of, it felt natural in what respect?
The only thing that was going on in my mind was what I was listening to what you were saying.
Right, okay.
And that was the most important thing. But it was very calm, and from the start, from looking at the light, it was very...
If I was to say to you, do you think you were hypnotised? What would your honest answer be to that?
I don't know, because of that.
Alright, the way you understand hypnosis to be in a stage context, namely that people do stuff and they're hypnotised, would you in that context believe that you've just been hypnotised?
Yeah, I'd say I was, because it just felt I was uncomfortable with anything I was doing.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that. We're now going to completely disillusion you and tell you what was really going on in your mind. Each and every one of you here today and tomorrow paid a fair amount of money for different motivations. Some of you for stage, some for induction, some for marketing. We'll have covered all that by the end of the weekend. We're going to kind of start with stage, then we're going to skip to therapy, then we're going to go back and then we'll bring it all together, because both relate to each other. I want to ask everybody in this room by a show of hands, who in this room has, in even a therapeutic context now, been hypnotised before? Okay. You genuinely believe you've been hypnotised before? Great. There's a few that say they have been on stage. Who in this room believes that they were in trance when they were hypnotised? Okay. Well, I've got news for you guys. There's no such fucking thing as hypnosis. We're a room full of con men and con women. Now, you're all thinking to yourself, hang on a minute, I've come to a seminar on hypnosis and he's telling me it doesn't exist. The truth is, hypnosis does not exist. Each and every one of you in this room that thinks that you hypnotise people for a living, you're nothing more than a male or female conman. Now that is a positive conman, because you do actually help people with what you do, because the people who come to you don't realise they're being conned. But essentially there is no such thing as a hypnotic trance. Hypnosis does not exist, and if you could do somebody under the trade's description out for calling themselves stage hypnotist, hypnotherapist or anything like that, each and every one of us quite rightly should be locked up in jail, because we're all breaking the law every time we advertise. Now you're all thinking this guy's going to start raving mad. Don't worry, I get like this, and it's going to get a lot more like this. If you don't like the truth, if you don't like honesty, if you don't genuinely want to know how to be a better hypnotist, now's the time to stand up and leave, because it's going to get an awful lot worse than this. It's a white knuckle roller coaster ride. I told you in the sales letter, stay away if you're easily offended. I told you that my views on hypnosis, how it works, and the techniques that I'm going to teach you will blow your mind. Whether they blow your mind because they make you angry and upset that you've been a charlatan for years, or they make you angry and upset because you realise, bloody hell, I didn't realise that, I could have been doing things a whole lot simpler. Either way, you're probably going to get very angry, upset and emotional over this weekend. And that's not because I'm going to be doing any arty-farty, indirect, Richard Bandler, wanky NLP trance stuff. No, it's because I'm going to tell you the truth. It's as simple as that. And I'm guessing that you guys have come here to be told the truth, hence you're paying your money. So simple answer, do we want to know the truth about hypnosis in this room? Yes! I said, do we want to know the truth about hypnosis in this room? Yes! See, I've got you all pissing hypnotised, and I've just told you it doesn't even exist. But it doesn't. Right. We've already started, we're into things. Stage hypnosis, hypnotherapy, any form of hypnosis is nothing but a bloody big con game, okay? To be a good hypnotist, you need to be a good actor. Whether you're a stage hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, okay? Forget all, and if you've done hypnotherapy courses before, I'm not saying you shouldn't go away and use stuff that you've learned. What I'm saying to you is there's two ways to do hypnosis. The wrong way and my way, okay? That's what we're saying for this weekend. You've got to forget everything you've ever learned about hypnosis for this weekend. If you want to then forget everything I teach you at the end of the weekend and go and do it the way you've been doing for years, that's fine. If you want to delude yourself, you're genuinely putting people into trance, okay? You've got to be a good actor. You've got to be a good actor on two fronts. Firstly, because you need to seem believable, that you genuinely believe that you're placing people into a trance state, so that that confidence transmits to the people that you're going to hypnotise. And I really hate that word because there's no such thing as hypnosis, but we've got to use it because it's the terminology that's been given. Okay, but when you're conning them, making them think they're going into trance, you've got to be a good actor. Now, a lot of you who've done hypnotherapy courses are automatically doing that, but you just didn't realise it because the person who taught you told you there's a genuine thing such as trance, charged you a couple of grand so you really believe them. Maybe do weekend courses for weeks, okay, to get really good at what you were doing when, quite frankly, a trained monkey can become a hypnotherapist in half an hour. Because if they're a good actor, that is. If they're a good actor. I think it was David Devant or Robert Houdin, the French magician many years ago, he said about magicians. He said that a magician is nothing more than an actor playing the part of what the audience expect a magician to be. I would go so far as to say that even if you're doing one-to-one clients, a hypnotist is nothing more than an actor playing the part of what the client or public expect them to be. Or at least that's the way it should be if you're doing it right. So many hypnotherapists make one very big mistake. Now, this sounds like I'm getting a hypnotherapist. I'm not. I'm going to slide off stage hypnotist as well. Don't worry about it. So many hypnotherapists make the mistake of believing themselves that they're putting people into trance. So, you know, people come along for a therapy session and they say, you're not going to get me running around like a chicken, are you? And so many hypnotherapists say to me, Jonathan, because that's my name, they say, Jonathan, I have to spend like 20 minutes and tell them it's nothing like stage hypnosis and then calm them down before I can even get them into trance to do my therapy work. I said, well, if you want to be that much of a wanker, fine. Because quite frankly, anyone who makes the mistake of telling them, as the majority of hypnotherapists do, that stage hypnosis is completely different from hypnotherapy. No, it's still a bit con. It's exactly the same. And you know what? If you want to be able to get those people that are saying to you that they're scared and they want to know whether stage hypnosis is the same, if you're going to get them running around like chickens, if you want to get them into trance really, really quick, okay, the best thing to do is tell them it is exactly the same. Because the person who says to you that they're scared you're going to get them running around like a chicken, what they're really saying is, please don't make me run like a chicken. Yeah, fair enough, but they're also saying, big verbal sign, big signpost in front of your face, I believe I can be hypnotised, like the stage hypnotist I saw. So if you spend 20 minutes telling them that it's completely different, hypnotherapy, and then get them sat there and do a 20-minute long induction, relax the little muscles in your feet. Now it's going to sound like I contradict myself later, because I do a, which we'll come to tomorrow, a progressive relaxation induction in therapy. But it only takes 3 minutes, whereas an awful lot of hypnotherapy scripture induction goes on forever. Those people have got it in their head, rightly or wrongly, even if they're coming saying, stage hypnosis is dangerous, did you see that program? Am I going to be okay? If they've stepped foot through your door, and they pay you there and then, because that's the first thing you should always do, get the money up them up front, okay? Never after the session, up front. They've got to make a commitment to change. They've been paid the 90% of the way to being cured. It's as simple as that. When they step foot through your door and pay that cash, they're 90% cured. And if they start saying, oh, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, they're not that scared when they just park with 250 quid or whatever it is you're charging them. They just want to be like the centre of attention for a while and feel that they're being, you know, spoke to in bedside manner kind of thing. Bollocks with that, tell them straight, right, come on, there's 2 ways we can do this. Fast or slow, which do you prefer? You can have it either way you want, fast or slow. I can take you like that, or we can spend half an hour, which do you prefer? And not many surprises. I think you find everyone will say, oh, let's get it over and done with. Especially if you put it in the context of saying, look, when would you like to change your problem in life? Would you like to be free of your phobia now? Or do you want to have it for another hour and a half, I would mess around? So you're doing future pacing. So do you want to be free of it now? You're already starting getting in the brain pattern, if you like. So, as I said, most hypnotherapists say, oh, no, stage hypnosis is different. Don't use people's misconceptions. If they believe, if they come in and say to you, oh, yeah, I've been told that when you're hypnotised, you wave a watch in front of the face. They say that, you better find yourself a watch very quickly and put it on a piece of chain, because they will go like that, because it's already in the mind that that will work. That is what they already believe. If you then spend 20 minutes telling them it doesn't work like that, you're spending 20 minutes trying to convince them not to be hypnotised, because it's already in the mind that it will work that way. So go with what the people believe. Now that is easy on a one-to-one therapy level, because you get to talk to the person directly, they come in the park with the couch there and then. In a stage hypnosis scenario, it's a little bit more difficult, because you can't go around everyone at a pure time and ask them, which way do you think you're supposed to be hypnotised? So you have to kind of narrow it down and just follow a kind of set model. But in therapy, you've got that opportunity to ask them, what do you think? And if they say, oh, I saw Paul McKenna on TV, and he got them stood up, tapped them on the back, and they were out like a sack of spuds on the floor, pound to a shirt button, you stand them up, start tapping them on the back, even if you don't know how to do the induction properly, and they'll go like that, because that's what they already believe. Okay, any questions so far? Or does that make sense? Can we move forward? Right. NLP modelling. Now some of these, as I say, will go off on a tangent. Some's to do with stage, some's to do with therapy, but it all comes together and it's all relevant to both, because at the end of the day, all hypnosis is nothing more than the correct use of communication, like salesmen. People who sell you stuff you don't want to buy. And that's a con as well. That's all it is. There's no such thing as a trance. NLP modelling. If you want to be a stage hypnotist, hypnotherapist, whatever it is you want to be, but particularly in this context. So you want to be a stage hypnotist, right? You're going to walk away with loads of videos at the end of this weekend of me. You can go and look at after. You can buy them a Paul McKenna. You can get them whoever you like. Whoever's your idol as a stage hypnotist, get a video of theirs. Same with therapy. A lot of hypnotherapists out there, they've got videos out. Basically speaking, 2 points I want to make. Firstly, NLP modelling. Anyone who's done an NLP course with Richard Bandler or anybody else, modelling, well, Richard Bandler is the biggest con man on the planet and all. He's a very good one. Because modelling is just a nice way of saying copying and stealing other people's ideas. Okay? It's trying to make what is, in most people's world, unethical sound ethical in the context of therapeutic change work. But essentially, if you copy, or if you feel more comfortable saying model, then please delude yourself further. But if you want to copy the world's greatest hypnotherapist and or stage hypnotist, get videos of what they do, which you can get, okay, of them doing actual therapy sessions. Basically, if you say what they say the exact same way, if you do what they do the exact same way, right down to the point where if that hypnotherapist on that video picks his nose while the person's in trance, you do it because you're going to end up transmitting the same body language and voice tones as that person. If you copy 100%, you will get the same result as long as your client that's in front of you has come with the misconception that you're a hypnotist. It's as simple as that.
Who did you copy?
Who did I copy originally? Andrew Newton. From a stage point of view, and from a therapeutic point of view, a gentleman called David Landau, that's right, yeah, he looks like a stage hypnotist, but he's a therapist, but he'd make a very good stage hypnotist. I copied him on the therapy side, I copied Andrew Newton on the stage side, and then down the line, started doing my own thing, which I don't think I need to explain much more about that, you probably all saw the programme the other night. So copying, or NLP modelling, whichever way you want to look at it. It's the simplest way. At the end of this weekend, aside from each and every one of you in this room, knowing in your heart of hearts, or at least I hope you'll know, because the only reason you won't know for certain is if you still delude yourself as such a thing as a genuine trance state. And by the end of this weekend, with the proof I'm going to give you, you should never ever believe that again, which will actually make you a far better hypnotist or con man, whichever way you feel comfortable thinking of it, okay? But by the end of this weekend we'll have covered everything we said in that sales letter and more. But you may not realise it fully until tomorrow. Therapy. How many people in here have actually conducted a hypnotherapy session? Okay, how many or been to one? We've got the majority of the room, okay? 7 simple steps to do a therapy session. The reason I'm going to break these down is because in a minute you'll see how that relates to stage hypnosis. There's nobody in this room, if I do my job properly, the rest of today and tomorrow, should ever spend another penny on going to any training seminar with any hypnotist or NLP anywhere in the world, anytime, any place, ever, unless you want to go to have a talk with your colleagues in the business. Because quite frankly, whoever you go to learn with, you ain't going to learn anything that you won't learn this weekend. They might tell you they have, but these are the people who take $2,500 off you and tell you there's such a thing as trance. Hey, oh wonderful, they've got a room full of NLPers who play along with things wonderful when they're doing one-to-one exercises. We will not. I will be getting every one of you during this weekend up here and doing stuff physically on you so you feel what it's like. We won't be moving the chairs and standing there with each other going, do, aren't they going to tap somebody on the back and they're going to go into trance? Do it in the real world. You don't need to practice it. The best way to be a good hypnotist is genuinely go out there treating clients or genuinely go out there and go on stage. The best way to go on stage is obviously to know a bit of background, hence we'll cover it, but that also ties into the therapy side. So therapy, the 7 steps. Step 1, getting rapport, if you must. If you feel it's really necessary, okay? You know, because at the end of the day, I don't give a shit about my clients. I don't. It's as simple as that. And if you're quite honest, the majority of you in here don't give a wank about them either. You're doing it for the money. But you have to be all respectable because you're around your colleagues, but you don't have to be respectable at this seminar this weekend, okay? We're doing it for the money. It's a business. Okay, never forget that, it's a business. The clients I couldn't give a wank about. All I want is them to be cured, help with their problem, so that they will be the best possible walking advert to bring more money to my pocket, to my bank account, so I can go on very nice holidays. Thank you very much indeed. Hence, the better con man you are, the better you will relieve them of their cash. And the only way you can keep relieving people of their cash is if they go away and tell people that it worked. So it's hand in hand. Although your focus is getting the money off them and ripping them off, you're actually going to help them by being honest to yourself and going for the money. You're actually going to be a better hypnotherapist and help them more because you'll be focused on making them a walking advert to get you more clients and more money. It's as simple as that. So rapport, bollocks. They've rung up, they've booked a session. If they show up for that session, and if you can accept credit cards, take the fee up front off them, as simple as that. If they're not prepared to pay for the fee up front, if you can accept credit cards, then tell them to find some other hypnotherapist if they're not committed to change. If they're not prepared to pay the money up front, then they're not serious about changing. And if you want to be a successful hypnotherapist that gets loads of clients and makes loads of money, all you want sat in front of you are the people that are so committed to change that all you basically need to do is take a stick of celery, wave it in front of the face, do their African rain dance, and they'll be cured because they're 99% of the way there before they even get there. Why make your job difficult? You want the people who are 99% cured, because then they're going to go away and you're going to have 99.9%, if not all of them, as walking adverts bringing you more clients. It's as simple as that. And there's a very valuable lesson there. So rapport, bollocks to it, yeah, give them a cup of tea. If it takes them that long to get the moths off the wallet, get the cash off them up front. I always use a line along the lines, if you go and see a gypsy fortune teller, they say, cross me pound with silver, so that'd be £250, please. And quite as bold as that. No niceties, it's simple as that. As a hypnotist, this is where I said, please forget everything you've ever learned before. I know this is going to be very controversial with what you've been taught. As a hypnotherapist, stage hypnotist, you've got to be commanding and demanding. You've got to take control. And sleep, you bastard, you don't have to swear, that's just my style. But you've got to be commanding and demanding. As a hypnotherapist, there's like different schools of thought. They say, there's the paternal approach. Then there's the authoritarian approach. And there's all these million and one different things in between. I'll tell you what it is. The only reason there are so many different models of hypnotherapy is because somebody had the bright idea, well, there's too many people teaching that model, so I can't rip off gullible people who think they're going to learn how to generally hypnotise people, so we'll devise a different model so that we can take their money off them. And then somebody else did and somebody else did. There is only one form of hypnosis. It's as simple as that. There's only one effective form of hypnosis, and that is you tell people what to do. That's what a hypnotist does. You tell them what to do, you expect it to be done there and then. And in a therapeutic context, it's quite perverse, really, because they're paying you to tell them to do it. And all these people, anyone who comes to you with a problem in therapy can sort their own effing problems out unless they've got at least 250 quid or whatever you're going to charge them. Because all you do is act as a trigger to them to allow themselves permission. Like there might be a business, it's the same as the sex industry, right? You've got business people, okay? They spend all week working in a bank, okay? Get really, really stressed. And then at the end of the week they go and they pay £250, £300 to some old slapper on some back street to dress them up like a baby while they're crapping a nappy. Well, it happens, I don't bet. You've seen it on TV, right? There's people find that as a form of relaxation. So if they'll pay 250 quid to have a giant terry telling towel pinned to them while they have a minute, then they're sure as hell going to pay me 250 quid to sort their problem out in life. And remember, that was a valuable story there. Never feel guilty about ripping them off, because by ripping them off, you're helping them. They want to be ripped off. The more money they pay, the quicker they will solve their problem. So rapport is now the end of the basically get the money off them and say, step 2, suggestibility and induction. Now I'm not going to go into doing the therapy suggestibility test today, because I'm going to cover my structure for a therapy session either very later on today or tomorrow. But in the order of structure as it relates to stage, step 2 in therapy will be you do your suggestibility test and your induction. Now a lot of hypnotherapists just sit them down, waste time doing rapport, waste another 20 minutes telling them hypnosis is safe and nothing like stage stuff. Spend another 10 minutes of self-importance telling them how many people they've helped, because they were told that that magic story is going to have a subvocal indirect trance effect on the client, and because they've heard this story about how somebody else with a similar problem I knew somebody like yourself once, and they too had this problem until they came to see me. And it was amazing, a few weeks after the session, what a transformation happened in their life. And I'm sure that you, like me, will find. And it's bollocks! I'm sure it probably does work if you do nothing but that and you don't bother doing trance. But the whole point of hypnosis is to go, sleep you bastard, or don't swear if you don't want to, sleep, get them out as quickly as possible. Basically, if they're a smoker, tell them you no longer need one crave or desire for cigarettes and tobacco, you silly bastard, and you pay me 250 quid, thank you very much. If they've got a fear of spiders, put them under, sleep. Alright, yeah, do a mental rehearsal on them. Imagine the spider with silly funny boots on, very ill, wah wah wah. We do that mainly, purely and simply, so that we can make the session last at least 45 minutes to justify charging them 250 quid. If they believe that you can hypnotise them, if they believe you're a hypnotist and they're prepared to part with that money the moment they walk through that door, then A, they will go into trance, especially if you use the tricks we'll be covering, and B, they will be out. And you could do it in the space of 2 minutes, the entire session, whatever the problem is. And I know people out there going, oh, I've treated people who've been raped for rape trauma, and we had to go back to the cause of the problem, remove its symptoms, no disrespect intended, because we had this conversation, one or two of us. Bullshit! If they want to talk and bore me stupid for weeks on end, sorry, no, you're not going to get 250 quid per hour session every week for 8 to 16 weeks doing analysis on somebody. If you know somebody who is getting that, then I'd very much like to meet them because they're a better con man than me. You're going to get a certain amount, there's a certain limit to what people can afford based on what the monthly earnings are, okay? I know there's exceptions to the rule, but we're working with the real world, real members of the public. And if they're getting paid maybe £600, £700, £800 a month after tax and national insurance, and they're paying the bills and stuff, they've probably got about £350, £400 per calendar month which they use to piss up the wall to get pissed, take drugs, go to orgies, whatever it is their particular perversion is. And it's from that pot of money that they're going to pay for your therapy session, okay? So they can essentially only probably afford £250 quid, 300 thereabouts, once a month. So that's no good for doing analysis. Send them to a psychiatrist. Or better still, do what they want when they came to you in the first place. They want to stop feeling whatever it is. Now you'll say, this is not ethical, you're supposed to remove the cause of the problem if they've got a deep-seated emotional problem. Fine, if you want to delude yourself again. You hypnotise them, put them out. If they believe and want you to tell them everything's okay, they're going to feel better, they're not going to think about a certain event in their life ever again, then that is what you do for them. You take that money off them, that is an honest exchange. If they paid you and you give them what they want, that is an honest exchange of money, firstly, and secondly, that is what they wanted. So therefore it's what they expect and what they believe will work. And the key to all hypnosis is belief and expectancy. If they believe it will work and expect it to, it will. Now I'm not saying that occasionally that one or two of these people will not, will end up getting symptom substitution somewhere down the line. They probably will. But you know what? When they do, if they do, they will come back to you because you gave them what they wanted. They won't be out there walking around saying it's 6-8 months down the line and now I'm feeling stressed again. They'll remember you as the guy who gave them what they wanted, provided value for money, helped them at the time. They won't even connect the two because you gave them what they wanted. So they'll come back again and you take more money off and they'll willingly give you more money for another session and you deal with that one there and then. They might come back 2 years later, you may never see them again. Quite frankly, analysis is nothing more than a cracking, another school of thought up by a clever person who thought, right, all the other hypnotherapists at this time, and I'm devising this, are charging £25, and this is like 1972 or before then. One session, right, I know, we'll do a 3-session smoking cessation. What a wonderful suggestion. I'm giving you, and they actually think because we're giving you more sessions, it's better value for money. No, it's a big negative suggestion. Why does it take you 3 sessions? It shouldn't take more than 3 minutes to stop somebody who wants to stop the part with the cash. But yes, even myself, I make a session last 45 minutes just so they feel they got the £250 worth. All the work's done in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Suggestibility induction, we'll cover that later. Deepen the trance. Oh, yeah. Staircase of relaxation. Right, why do we do it on stage? We deepen the trance on stage purely and simply for presentational purposes. It's got sweet piss all to do with hypnotising them. Okay? In therapy you've been taught, do them down a staircase, dream, blackboard, whatever. Again, it's got sweet FA with hypnotising them. It's a good presentational ploy, it's a good time killer, it makes it look believable and credible to those people who perhaps don't believe that they can go as quickly as that. If you get the client come along who says, I believe it's going to take like about 30 minutes to be relaxed there and get a lie, then just the same rule applies as what I said before. Those that believe they can go really quick, do them quick. But the one who thinks it's going to take half an hour, make it last half an hour. Because then they will believe they're getting what they expect it to be, so their mind, all this Richard Bandler crap, break down the belief systems, start from scratch. Bullshit. You wasted 40 minutes of your session. If you get serious problems in smoking, they say, oh, 5 minutes or so at the start of the session, but just get down to business, take money off them, and get rid of the problem. Actual therapy, obviously whatever's relevant, we'll cover that when we do the therapy session tomorrow. Major post-hypnotic suggestion. Well, in therapy, that would be that when I awaken you in a few months' time, whatever arty-farty stuff you want to say, that when I give you this audio tape to take away with you, because you're giving an extra value for money there, they're taking away an audio tape that's cost you 50 pence to produce yourself. Well, hey, value. When you listen to this audio tape, okay, each and every time you listen to it, it will be just as effective as if I was there in the room with you. That's your post-hypnotic. And then when you wake them out of trance, if you want to call it that, you say, here's the tape. Now, I'm certain that this is going to be successful for you. But you said you were serious when you came here. You were serious, weren't you? I go, yes, that's why I'm, yeah, I'll give you 250 quid. You give them the tape and you say, you must listen to that once every other day for 28 days. Reason. They've got to be committed to it for another 28 days. For the next 28 days, they're focused on overcoming their problem and remaining overcome from it. And taking smoking as an example, within 28 days, in far less than that, all the nicotine's left your body, blah, 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 but within 28 days, it takes 28 to 30 days for a habit to become habit. So if you've got them working at not, they've got the focus on listening to this tape, it's taking the mind off the thought of having a fag or whatever. At the end of 28 days, habit's broken. Don't even need hypnosis. You didn't even really need to do the session. You could have took the money off them, given them the tape and said listen to it once every other day for 28 days. But you'll sell more tapes at 250 quid if you give them a bit of an half-hour session beforehand. Then if you do get the occasional client ring you up and say, I've started smoking again, or I'm biting my nails again, you say, ooh. Imagine you're listening on the phone now, almost accusing them, so it's like, oh, I can see what's happened here. Come on, be honest. You didn't listen to that tape every other day for 28 days, did you? And I guarantee you, not one of the pissing people who come to you, even the ones who have stopped the problem, not one of them will listen to it past the first week or two. So when they do ring you back, it's all their fault and they've got to pay you again. Move around to the line, fade your trousers. Lovely. Okay. Awaken from trance, we've covered that. That's the basic structure for a therapy session. Now I hope that, I think most of you now realise, despite my blunt approach, that although I'm not doing any indirect trance stuff here, I am firing in lots of information here in a way that isn't perhaps necessarily immediately obvious. Every day for 28 days the tape. The beauty of that also is, for 28 days, or for at least the first week or two, because after that they won't bother listening. They're going to be saying to me, remind me tomorrow I need to listen to that tape again. They're focused on that, so therefore, the more likely they're keeping a commitment to it to change. But also, they're going to be like down the pub having a pint. Shit, I've not listened to the tape today. You what, Bill? What about the tape? What tape? I've been seeing Hypnotists, so I've got this tape and I'm going to listen to it once every 28 days, so I'm going to have this pint to go. They're advertising for you yet again. It naturally happens. Okay. That's the basic structure of a hypnotherapy session. Now we'll keep going at this hyper speed rate till 12 o'clock when we have a coffee break. Because we've got one hell of a lot of stuff to cover. Stage, again, is 7 steps, using that same model. Incidentally, everything that we refer to on here over the 2 days is all in type format on one of the CD-ROMs that you take away with you. Any techniques that I physically demonstrate on you all is physically shown on at least one or more of the videos that you take away with you. And any techniques I say about, for therapy are at the very least covered on audio tape, so you don't need to write anything down because you will get reminded. So on stage, number 1, gain rapport, pattern drugs, warnings. Okay, you've got to get rapport in a stage situation. Purely and simply, not to hypnotise them, because on stage it's 99% showbiz and entertainment. It's 1% whacking somebody in a trance. Okay? You've got to get the audience to like you, or to hate you so much that it's pleasurable for them to watch it in a kind of perverse horror movie type fashion. Okay, the Mr. Nasty of sorts, they love him, but okay, which is the route I chose to take. So initially you've got your patter in the beginning. Now that has got to be structured in such a way that whoever does volunteer to come up is 99% likely to be cooperative. And this is the key. There is no such thing as somebody being hypnotised on stage or in therapy. But we're talking about stage here. There's no such thing as them being in trance or not in trance, being in light state, medium state, deep state. Who less? They're a sleeper. They're either cooperative or uncooperative. It's as simple as that. They're either going to do what you say or they're not. It doesn't matter what so-called level of trance they're in. They're either going to cooperate or they're not. And the whole structure of your intro is to try to stop people coming up on stage who aren't going to cooperate, and get the people up on stage who are going to cooperate. Now in therapy that problem's gone because they ring you and ask you to help them for a fee. So you haven't got that barrier there. On stage you've got, don't know if this is an audience for a bloody judge and jury today, but you've got an audience in front of you, okay, and you've got to get some of them up to the front and be cooperative, otherwise you haven't got a show. Because the singer can carry on singing, comedian can carry on telling his jokes. Hypnotist, if he doesn't get cooperative people, hasn't got a show. And actually I've just told a lie there, because if you do what we're going to cover later on this afternoon, you've always got a show, even if people are uncooperative. But we won't cover that stuff yet, because a lot of it is very much in the contravention of the 1952 Hypnotism Act, and I said I wouldn't do that before lunchtime, didn't I? Deepening the trance, okay? Now when it comes to deepening the trance on stage, again it's bullshit. It's nothing more than presentational purposes. It's for 2 reasons. A, for presentation. B, to kill time. C, sorry, that's 3 reasons. C, also, so you can see how cooperative they are. When you go up to them and say, sir, I'm going to lift your hand up now, drop it by your lap, and we'll see how deep you go. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. What you're really doing there is, you want to see how quickly he drops his arm, because you've already said, I'm going to drop your arm and I want you to let it fall quick. You may as well, I would decipher it from hypnotist talk, okay, you've all seen what I did. I'll decipher it into general public talk. What we're truly saying, what I truly said at the start of the show when you just saw there. I'll go on, I'll come back on, and I'll do it, if you like, with the code cracked, so you can hear what I'm really saying to the audience. And notice how, when I tell the truth about what the points I'm getting across, that it doesn't quite have the same impact as it did before. Hence you have to calm people. So I'm going off, and I'm coming back again. Good evening, everybody! Come on, good evening. I couldn't give a toss about you fuckers as long as I get paid my money at the end of the show. You see how this wouldn't work when you're doing a show for real, if you're honest, okay? But I'm just here to do my job and get paid. So, you see what it is, I'm going to be asking for some Muppets to come up here, do the show for me, and look the part so I can get paid for making you look complete pricks. That's wonderful. Now, basically, all the stuff you've heard about needing to be weak-willed, insane, or stupid to be hypnotised is actually completely true when it comes to a stage show. The more stupid you are, the more likely you are to come up here and make a dick of yourself in front of your friends and family. Okay, so I'm looking for people with good powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration. The reason for that is, then if you come up here and you don't do what I tell you to do, you're going to look like you're a thick as fuck idiot, with no intelligence, with no imagination, with no concentration. So you feel obliged to do what I tell you to do. Now, apparently by law, I'm not allowed to hypnotise anyone who's asthmatic, epileptic, clinically depressed, pregnant. But quite frankly, if I don't get many volunteers tonight and you fall into one of those categories and you want to come up and be cooperative, I don't care less. What I'm basically looking for is people with an open mind. The emptier the better. If you're ready for going to a psychiatric ward, brilliant. I'm sure it'll be very entertaining and funny for us. And that's about all I really want to say, so we're going to do a suggestibility exercise to see which of you are the more stupid idiots that are prepared to get up here because you've had a few lagers, or without a few lagers, because you just want to be the centre of attention, a star for the night, and you want to be able to go back to the audience afterwards and say, "Oh, you what? Oh, you haven't been playing with me, Willie? I don't remember that. Oh, it must have been hypnotised. It's all his fault he hypnotised me." So you've got a wonderful excuse. You can go back and tell your friends you don't remember and I made you do it, so you've got a perfect excuse to come and make a dick of yourself. And that's basically what I said right at the start of the day. No personal offence intended, but as we go along you'll see you were hypnotised, mate. That's essentially what I said. Decoding. That's essentially what any stage hypnotist says, decoding. You want people who are going to be cooperative at the front. In therapy, they've contacted you, so you're 99% of the way there. On stage, you need to get to being 99.9% of the way there, but in a much harder environment, where they haven't asked you to come and hypnotise them. The venue's button you, but the people themselves, you've got to coerce them in. You've got to force them. You've got to take control. You've got to tell them. And remember, you're supposed to be a hypnotist, and this applies even if you're doing therapy, okay? All that crap about maternal hypnotherapy, bullshit. The more domineering you are as a hypnotist, that is what people expect. You'll get clients in front of you say, "Oh, please don't talk to me like that." Bullshit. They came, they knew, they saw. They came to a hypnotist. 99% of the people you ask on the street, what? Do it yourself, ask them, go down, ask 100 people in the middle of any high street, what does the word hypnotist mean to you? What do you think of a hypnotist? And they'll either tell you they've seen flipping Paul McKenna, or something on telly, knocking people out, or that you just have to go sleep, or they'll relate the film Svengali, swinging a watch. They'll say, "Oh, can't you get women into bed with it?" Let them, but that is what most people believe. Don't waste time telling them otherwise. Work with it and you'll get them a hell of a lot quicker. And in the context of doing a stage show, you've got to get the most, basically, no offence to those who volunteered earlier, but the most gullible people as quickly as you can. Because all that crap about essentially everybody can be hypnotised, yeah, because there's no such thing as hypnosis. Essentially speaking, that decipher means everybody in this room has got the capacity to be cooperative with me if they want to. But that wouldn't sound good if you went up in front of an audience and said that. So we dress it up so that the same psychological effect happens and, well, if I get up there and he sends me back, everyone's going to think I'm stupid because I've not got intelligence, imagination and concentration. So it's got the same effect on them as saying, I only want the idiots on people who are going to be cooperative, but without basically putting them off. And if you told the truth, that's why you need to be a good actor and look sincere with your smile when you're telling them all that crap. Ego deepen the trance, as I said, it's just to see how cooperative they are. Ego strengthening therapy, which if you start your therapy session, once you've got one, you do all the, it's your special place, the time in your life, you feel good, bullshit. Right? On stage, ego strengthening is very, very important. Because because you want them to feel good about being cooperative. So when you go along and you drop the hand down, you go, that's wonderful, you're such a wonderful subject. And every time you go past them, go, that's brilliant, so relaxing, so much deeper. You're such a wonderful subject, going deeper. What you're basically doing is saying, I'm going to lick your ass a bit more and just let you know without the audience knowing that you're doing a good job, you're doing it the right way, and carry on doing it like that, carry on reacting like that. But if you said that, obviously, it wouldn't be that entertaining to the audience, would it? For the audience to think you're supposed to be hypnotising them. So we have to do things in code. Major post-hypnotic suggestion. Again, it just comes down to compliance. And then obviously on stage, that's where you say to them, for the rest of this evening, whenever I say sleep as quickly as that, a snap of the fingers, that just looks good on stage. It's what people expect. They've seen 1,000,001 hypnotists click the fingers and say sleep. Quite frankly, if you want to suddenly become the witch doctor stage hypnotist and have a rain stick and say that when I wiggle it, you'll go. If you want to be a John Wayne impersonator hypnotist and say, when I find my cap gear, you'll go back into trance. All it is you're telling them straight, when this certain thing happens, and I made it clearly obvious that I'm talking to you and you alone, I want you to close your eyes again and look like you're asleep. That's essentially what you're saying to them, but in a manner whereby it looks as though you're doing some form of hypnosis, okay? And at the end of it, you awaken them from trance. They weren't in a trance in the first place, so you don't need to awaken them. All this bullshit about the 1952 Hypnotism Act. Oh, you've got to remove suggestions from the mind. What a crock of shit. When did you last actually, genuinely, other than on a television programme where everyone's obviously there to slate stage hypnosis, so they're going to say they've had a bad experience. When did you actually ever hear of somebody crashing the car because the piece of music started playing that they were listening to earlier and they started dancing like Elvis in the car on the way home? It didn't, because people naturally do what will protect themselves. They look after themselves. But we have to do it for presentational purposes, so the audience think we're nice, ethical hypnotists. And we look caring, we removed all the suggestions. And because some tossers of the government think there is such a thing as hypnosis and say that we have to do that. And that's basically the structure of the stage show, but we're going to break that down in great depth as the day goes on. So in a nutshell, whether it is hypnotherapy or stage hypnosis, any form of hypnosis, any form of change work, really, for that matter, and into that, and even including emotional freedom techniques, tap and be free, NLP, psychotherapy, for that matter, quite frankly, herbalism, aromatherapy, anything that comes under the banner of complementary alternative therapies is one big huge placebo effect, 99% of it, and comes down to the fact that the more money they pay out, the more people will believe it. That is why the alternative health industry, for those with their heads screwed on right, who start selling useless pills by mail order and stuff like that, can make you a multi-millionaire very quickly indeed. So you need to know the 4 steps, okay? Step A is belief and expectancy. This applies whether it's stage hypnosis or hypnotherapy. In order for that person on stage to be cooperative, and in therapy to end up believing that you're going to be able to help them, they must believe several things. They must believe that you're a hypnotist. They must believe that you can hypnotise people. They must believe that you can hypnotise them. And as the session goes on, they must believe they have been hypnotised. If all those areas of belief are in place, I don't care what problem they've got, you will solve it. Especially when they paid the wedge. Expectancy. It's the same thing, it comes down to what they expect. I covered that briefly before. If they say, I believe you can go like this, take them into trance that way, because you'll get them easier. Now on a stage show environment, the belief and expectancy is instilled before you even get there by your posters at the venue, the adverts in the local paper, people talking at the bar maybe for a couple of weeks in advance. Hey, you come in a week on Thursday to see the hypnotist. Okay, and they go, oh, well, I don't know, it might make me do deaf things. I don't know, well, I'll come and watch, but I won't take part. Let's decipher what the members of the public there have just said. They're going, there's a guy on here who can hypnotise people. Are you coming? Ooh. right, you could hypnotise me. He might maybe do that things. So I'll come and watch. The hypnotist hypnotise other people. What they're essentially saying is they're convincing each other in advance. Your publicity is convincing them that you can do what you're claiming. It's doing 90% of your con work for you in advance. Then when you walk on stage and look all confident like you couldn't, the more you look like you couldn't care less, you're in control of the place, you're in charge, you take control, you get them. Because the hypnotist is dominant, you're an authority figure, okay? 99% of people, if I had pre-arranged and paid somebody, and that was a good idea, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I was about to say if I paid somebody to dress up as a policewoman to come in, but it's quite a good idea that. Anyway, going back to the subject, if I'd have paid a woman to come in dressed up as a policewoman, and pretend to arrest me partway through the seminar without warning you all, and she'd have turned around and said, everybody stand up, you'd have all bloody stood up straight away. In fact, you'd have done exactly what she told you to, because you would have believed that she was a policewoman, and would have expected that, oh shit, there's something happening here, I better do what she says. That uniform instantly gives the policeman belief, okay? As a stage hypnotist, we don't have a set uniform as such that everyone wears different. It's show business, so everyone's each to their own. So you've got to do it through your photographs. And your photographs and stuff, people say, oh, it's so cliched seeing the photographs where you're giving it all this, Mr. Svengali look. But I'm sorry, they're the best type of photographs to have, because at the end of the day, that is the cheesy image of stage hypnotists that the general public have got. And if you stick with what they already believe and expect to see, it's a whole lot easier for you to get them cooperative. Step 2. Because that's the same in therapy, except it's 100 times easier because they come to you. Step 2, disorientation and confusion. Any so-called induction has got elements, once you've got the belief, of disorientation and confusion. All the induction methods that I will teach you this afternoon and demonstrate on some of you, it still comes down to whether they want to be cooperative or not, on a stage scenario. In therapy, at the end of the day, they pay the money. If you tell them snow's white, black, coal's white, they'll believe you. But on stage, you haven't got that luxury. So you've got to be quick. So you want to scare the living daylights out of them. Disorientation and confusion is the best way. Because if when you're doing, we'll explain later, you're doing things like the knockback, when you're knocking them on the back, their eyes are closed, they're breathing in, their head's back, they start to get dizzy. But I'll go into much more depth about it later, but the point is there's things happening, so many things happening at once, and physical sensations they can feel, like being knocked around, breathing and all that, that it becomes very disorientating. And you're talking so fast to them at the same time, it becomes confusing. At the end of the day, then it gets so bloody hell, I'm in front of people up on stage. It's just easier to do what he says. You get to a point where it's just easier for them to do what you tell them to do, rather than having that mental overload of what the hell's going on. Then we have suggestion and repetition. Essentially, it doesn't particularly matter, but people perceive a hypnotist as being able to hypnotise people, so you've got to play with that misconception. So suggestions are very, very important. Essentially, on stage, we'll cover therapy separately, but on stage, your suggestions need to be as clear and concise and direct to the point as possible. So for example, an age-old routine is that when you wake up in a few moments' time, you can no longer count, say or think the number 7. So if you can't say it, count it, or think it, there's no way that what you've essentially said, deciphered, is when I wake you up, tell you to open your eyes, I want you to pretend an actor's law, you're somebody who just had the brain removed and the number 7 ain't there. But you need to do it in a manner whereby the audience perceive it as though you're giving them a hypnotic suggestion, which they thought, if you look at a hypnotic stage show, really, the biggest farce on the planet, why the general public want to pay money to go and see people come up and essentially, of their own free will, make dicks of themselves, which you could probably watch around any pub on a Friday night after a few pints, okay, far worse, and probably far funnier. Under the guise of it being hypnosis, it's because they don't know the contrary. So if we turn around and said, when you open your eyes, pretend this, the audience is right, hang on a minute, You're supposed to be hypnotising them, this isn't right. But essentially that's what he done. There's no element of a stage hypnosis show. People go away saying it's amazing, he told them to do this and they were acting like that and it was fantastic. Backtrack a bit. The key phrase there is, he or she told them to do it. And the more responsive, to make your subject really, really responsive, it's easier if your suggestion cannot be misunderstood because you told them exactly what to do. But in such a manner that the audience perceive it as a casual. You can no longer count, say, I think the number 7. Well, think about it, sit down and think about that. What option have they got left? Well, they have got one. If they can't count it, say it or think it, just perhaps some, I don't know, they could pick it up if they had a number brick in front of them by eliminating the rest. It doesn't matter, but on the stage scenario, you're limiting it, so they've only got one option. You're telling them, in a nutshell, what to do. So, for example, when you in a few moments' time, and you hear this next piece of music, you play a bit of it, the only reason for that is not so that, I mean, it looks great then later on when you start the music and they start being Elvis and it looks like, oh, he just automatically being Elvis, the music dies. Well, yeah, of course he is, because earlier on I told him that when that piece of music starts, that's when he's got to start acting like Elvis. From an audience watching it point of view, it looks more amazing and more entertaining. From the people up here, it's so that they know exactly when they should be doing what you've told them to do. It really is as simple as that. But then, you'll find that if you ever do a stage show, you get loads of your audience members afterwards who'll swear blind they were entranced, they were out of it, they can't remember a thing. They'll come up to you and say, that's amazing, this little baby just tried to hypnotise me and it didn't work, but I was out of it. It's because they've seen you on stage as a powerful looking performer. You put a microphone in somebody's hand, they automatically become 50% more attractive to the opposite sex, or the same sex if you're that way inclined, or depending on the venue you're working in. That's why loads of women can come on to you after shows if you're a bloke, or vice versa. People of the same sex, the reason they come up to you is because, quite frankly, some of them are scared because they don't understand hypnosis. You've got your big tough guy in the pub, he's the guy in the pub that normally, make sure there's no aggro goes on, and if he does, he steps in and has a bit of fisticuffs. And suddenly he's confronted by all his mates who know him, doing daft things at your command, and it's like, this guy's in control. Oh, people get scared by that because they actually genuinely believe there's some kind of power that you can look at people in the eyes. And, so many times I go into bars and barmaids go, oh, don't look at me in the eyes. And I always say, look, if it was that simple, darling, firstly, I wouldn't be paying for my drink, okay? Secondly, I wouldn't be in Rochdale, okay? And thirdly, I wouldn't be in a bar. I'd be in bed with about 20 women, if all of that was possible. But that is what people believe, so you get people who are scared. So they want to come and talk to you, so that by talking and saying, no, it's brilliant, 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 they feel they're getting you on side, so that you're not going to put some strange trance on them and make them do something daft. So it makes them feel a little bit safer again on the psychological level. That is why people won't admit, the majority of them, that, oh, I wasn't in trance. Because as far as they're concerned, if you've done your con job properly, you'll have took them such a way by halfway through your show that they've come up and gone, well, I couldn't get the hands apart. Well, we'll explain that later. I mean, the locked hands version I did on you is pure suggestibility. But later on, we're going to be covering ones that are guaranteed to work. They can't fail. So when you do them, and people go, oh, my hands won't separate, they think, oh, he's a hypnotist. He told me I wouldn't be able to separate my hands. And I couldn't. So therefore, what he said has happened. So they're more likely to believe that the next thing you say to them will happen as well. So when you get them up on stage, and you start doing an induction, they're at that next level that when you say, in a moment, I count to 3, 3, 2, 1, you're going to fall back, go to sleep. Their logical, rational processes, my hand's locked, I am intelligent, I am clever really, I don't want to look stupid and get sent back to the audience. It's easier to do what he says. Boom, we go. And then once they've done 1 or 2 routines, which you get to do with their eyes closed, so that they can start off doing stuff and relax into it, playing their part, with their eyes closed, they don't get distracted by the audience putting them off, but we make it sound completely logical, keeping your eyes tightly closed so that the sun doesn't burn your eyes. Sounds logical, it sounds like we're being an ethical hypnotist. But you say, bullshit. It's so that they don't get distracted by the audience. And once they start doing 1 or 2 routines, they get relaxed with it, and they realise the audience are laughing, and that you are then saying, that's wonderful, and sleep, everyone, give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause, and they realise that you're making them the stars. And you're directing the applause to them, and you're getting people to laugh with them, not just at them. And that makes them feel like the centre of attention, the star. It's like, you know, getting up at karaoke night, people who know the crap singers, but they still get up because they could be a centre of attention. But with hypnosis, they've got the wonderful excuse at the end of it all, I didn't know what was going on, it made me do it. And allegedly, then you end up with relaxation and sleep. Bullshit. On stage, nobody is asleep. For that matter, nobody is probably relaxed, really. They will tell you they have been. They may be in the sense of when they close their eyes and they can stop looking at the audience and being self-conscious of the fact they're making a twat of themselves. Okay, that moment of contemplation when their eyes are closed and they don't have to look at the audience, they're going to feel more relaxed than being under the pressure of, I've got to do my next bit of the act now and be whatever, Elvis or whatever. So that is why they will feel relaxed when you say sleep, because suddenly, I've got a bit of time to rest now before I do the next thing. Okay? And in therapy, well, sleep, in therapy, which I'll come to more, as I said, later on. Yes, in therapy, if you can get them to go to sleep, as in sleep, which you can always put some night nurse in the complimentary coffee there at the start of the session. If you have to physically wake them up at the end, come on, wake up, sir, and then go, and they're going, oh, how long have I been here? Then they will believe they've been hypnotised, because their misconception is that you go to sleep. So instead of explaining they don't, we use techniques which I'll cover later to make sure they do go to sleep. But not hypnosis, genuine sleep. Snoring sleep, like going to sleep at night time. So you've got to physically wake them. So they'll love it because they think, oh, it's just like I thought it was going to be. I can't remember what he's been saying for the past 20 minutes. It must have worked. And the moment they believe that what you're doing has worked, is the moment it has worked. Because the change will have taken place within them. And that's where your own personal self-confidence comes in. On stage, quite frankly, probably to the point of having to be, well, certainly, most stage hypnotists cover it a bit different. Personally, I like to be honest, straight to the point, and an arrogant bastard even when I'm on stage. Because quite frankly, that's what people expect. You're a stage hypnotist, you're in control, you tell them to sit down, they're supposed to sit down. Then, they're right in the chair you've told them to, without any argument. And if they don't, then they're not as cooperative as they should be. And then you'd use other tricks that we'll cover later after the coffee break, which will be coming up shortly. So self-confidence and transmitting it to your clients, or on stage your punters, is the main secret of success in stage hypnosis, hypnotherapy, NLP, psychotherapy, counselling, aromatherapy, anything you want to call it from A through to Z. I don't care if you're giving them herbs, grinding it up and calling it herbalism. I don't care if you're rubbing oils on the back and calling it aromatherapy. At the end of the day, it's a huge placebo effect. And placebos work best if people, A, don't know the tricks behind them, so obviously they think it's a genuine pill, okay? So we give them the genuine pill of hypnosis, what they expect to get. We give it them in the manner they expect it to be, and we deliver what they want. So therefore, they're 90% of the way there, because you're not throwing up any objections and saying, no, it's not like that, it's like this really. You go with what they're thinking, and then you throw in, listen to your tape once every 28 days or whatever. They've got to make the commitment themselves, because at the end of the day, people can and will only change if they want to, if they're committed to changing. But yes, admittedly, some people feel they need a permission, if you like, almost, from somebody to make that change. Because they're perhaps working a really stressful job where every penny's got to be accounted for, and they've got so used to in their life having to dot the T's, cross the I's, you know, and doing exactly what they're told, that they think, oh, I don't know if it's all right for me to stop doing this in my life, but I'd like to. And then you as the hypnotist come along and say, yes, it's fine, we can help you achieve whatever you want to achieve. And you're the answer to their problem. Because the only problem is that they haven't got the bottle to just get on with their life and keep their mind to something. All you do is you give them willpower, a belief, a state of mind, call it what you will. You give them that magic pill. And we're going to break for a coffee break, so just to end this section, remember, hypnosis is a con game, and the magic pill that helps your clients or gets people cooperative on stage, we give it the name hypnosis. We're half an hour. We start again, okay? No more than half an hour. Thank you.